This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. Today's hosts are me, Savannah Bewley.
I'm Colton Scholl.
Bryan Bridge.
And we have two special guests today.
Michael Bagely.
Allie Bridge.
The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts. Today, we are talking about what we need to do in Rexburg before we leave. We're going to call it the Rexburg bucket list.
We are pretty much all students. The population of Rexburg is majority students. There are a few people that live here their whole lives, but for us, I've already left a few times and then come back, but I'm leaving pretty much permanently in April. And so what should I do, or what should other people do that are going to leave, or before or after they finish their degree?
What did you think about, Colton? What are some things you want to do before you leave?
So this is hard for me because I don't do anything ideal. But as I was kind of thinking about different things, there's a couple of stuff, like there's the splatter lab and axe throwing. We have axe throwing in Vegas, but I don't think we have a splatter lab, and I wanted to try that out.
Yeah, we looked at that like last year. It's a decent price, and it's good to go on like a double date or something. And it's unique. There are other places that offer unique things, but nothing like Splatter Lab. And it's close to kind of downtown Rexburg, so it's pretty available.
Splatter Lab is one of those things I haven't got to do yet, but it looks really, really fun. Like, I heard it's slightly expensive, but worth the expense. Has anybody gone before?
No.
No?
We were about the first time hearing about it.
First time you're hearing about it. Yeah, it's over there by Little Caesars, right?
Yeah.
Little Caesars and the cookie place, Crumble Cookie.
Cookie place. I'm not.
It is a
Crumble.
cookie place.
It's
because
the cookie place.
Crumble is on a different street.
On Hemming Village,
Yeah.
They look
you can tell I'm still
identical.
New. But yeah, and speaking of the cookie place and Crumble Cookie, those are places on my list for my bucket list. Like, I haven't been to the cookie place yet. I've had Crumble.
10 out of 10.
But I've heard good things.
Yeah. If it's your birthday, they give you a free one for your birthday. We just had one because it was recently my birthday, and I think I got the monster cookie. Really good.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And my birthday is during this semester, so I'll go over there and try it out.
There you go.
December 7th, so there we go.
Happy birthday.
Happy early birthday.
Early birthday.
Well, yeah, you're right. Cookie places are either here or in Utah. And so if you're not planning on moving to Utah, Crumble and the cookie place are definitely places to try out. You do have to understand that a cookie place will most likely have the same flavors every single week, but Crumble will have different flavors. So if you're thinking about going a certain week, look at the flavors online first, see if you'll like them. Because if you go in and you're like, it's all pumpkin spice stuff, I don't like that, then you'll be disappointed.
I didn't know that they had a schedule posted, so that's really cool.
Yeah, they have like rotating flavors. This was like one of my first jobs in Rexburg, and so every week is different. They had like a everything bagel once, and I don't think that did very well.
Nobody really liked that one. Yeah.
I don't know. Savory cookies don't seem like something I would enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just recently they had like a pink donut flavor, and that one I heard did really well. They have milk chocolate chip cookie every week, and then
pink sugar.
Classic pink sugar. So
What a terrible business model. We introduce these things that you like, except you can only have it like once a month because of the rotation.
Well, I would say it's a good business model because then they get people coming back like every 6 weeks or whatever. So
it's true.
Nah.
Because they rotate. You said they rotate every 6 weeks?
No, they rotate every week. But like, say, so they have like 50 flavors or whatever. So like peanut butter and jelly is going to be this week, and then next week's going to be Oreo, and they have like themes sometimes. And so I think last week was like breast cancer awareness, so everything was pink. And so
wow, okay, well, Crumble Cookie, that is on our bucket list. And the cookie place. So Michael, what about you? What's on your bucket list before you leave Rexburg?
I've got a few items. I am a big advocate of really exploring Rexburg and all it has to offer. For starters, I'd recommend Big Judd's out in Archer. That's, if you ever want to just really quality, just American classic greasy burger.
You go in there, you look at the price of the burger, and you go, ugh, and then you have it, and you go, no, it's worth it.
And other, options, there's definitely Casa de Ochoas. They do great Mexican food, and then they also have Latin dancing every Friday night for those of you so inclined.
Whoa, that's cool.
There's a lot of really fun little niche experiences and dives, really, you can go into around Rexburg if you're just willing to step out your door of your apartment,
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I didn't know about the Latin dancing, but we do go to Casa, not quite often, but a little bit here and there, and it's good food.
For I feel like we're talking a lot about food and everything, but for which is, I love food. Like, we go out too much. We go out too much. But I would say for the adventure people, going to the sand dunes, to St. Anthony Ice Caves, there's a 17-mile cave, which is 17 miles away from Idaho Falls, but it's an ice cave, and that's really cool. But I would just say, if you're wanting to do adventure stuff, or even going to Jackson, when are you going to be this close to Jackson or the Tetons again?
Or even Yellowstone.
I've heard things about 17-Mile Cave. It sounds really cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah, because you can go in there and they encourage you to do graffiti in the cave. So you are there to go do something fun like that, and then just have a really cool bonfire, and that's definitely on my list for sure.
There's a huge dragon when I came. There's it was really cool. So.
That is so cool. So if you got artist friends, perfect place to go. What were you saying, Michael?
I was just gonna say, and these adventurous outings change with the seasons as well. When you go to the sand dunes, you can come back in the winter for sledding, and then you can come back in the summer for stargazing. There's just it all just changes throughout the year, so there's plenty to do year round around here if you're an outdoorsy type.
So you got to start planning your bucket list a year out.
Well, and speaking of specific times, I heard the ice caves are really fun during the winter to go and experience. Obviously super cold, but worth it for the experience that you have.
Well, with the 17-mile cave, when the people took me, they said that it stays the same temperature year round.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
They were it's 60 degrees, so you need a sweatshirt. But I was oh, that's cool. So.
Well, that's good to know. So it's a year-round kind of thing. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brian, did you have any more?
I was going to say, what else is year-round? Little Caesars.
Can't get that anywhere else.
Well, I'm sorry, Allie, but I'll go back to food. We have left and come back, and something that we've noticed, we've missed, even though we're not huge advocates of the whole business model, we missed the soda shops. So you have Soda Vine, you have Great Scots, which are at gas stations, and the appeal isn't necessarily oh my gosh, I love soda, but just to try different flavors. We'll get a different flavor each time. Mountain Dew with strawberry or raspberry in it. It's not something crazy awesome, but if you leave Rexburg, you'll be man, I should have tried that. So that's on my list.
Yeah, so that was actually on my list as well. I love all the shops around here, all the soda shops, and I think it's something that I want to make sure I get plenty of the flavors from each place before I leave, just because it's so wonderful. I just love the experience and the atmosphere of Soda Vine as well. You walk in and you're just oh my gosh, this is such a fun place. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then other than that, I had Yellowstone. We also have Bear World, which my family came out here last year for our wedding, actually, and they stopped by Bear World, and they were it was a fun experience. I think most people who go there will be okay, it's a tiny bit expensive for what it is, but every time I drive by it on the highway, there's a huge animal, I don't know what animal, but just right by the highway, and I'm whoa, I'm gonna get in a crash because I'm so distracted. So I don't know if we will be able to, because we're leaving in April. But that was something that was always on my list because I drive by it all the time.
Yeah.
Along the same lines too, over in Yellowstone area, they have some really cool places where you can go that are like smaller places that have like wolf and bear sanctuaries, otter sanctuaries, and stuff like that. I got to go to one of those, and that one is definitely, it should be on your list if it isn't. Really fun. It was really cool to see all the wolves, and when I went, it wasn't super busy, and you got to get like pretty close and you got to see them, and it was really cool. So yeah, that's one
I didn't
to
know there
check
was
out.
an otter sanctuary. That's kind of
Yeah, it was really cool. I loved it. And they had all these like Idaho fish as well in the same area where the otters were. Obviously not literally in the same area, otherwise the otters would eat them. But yeah, it was just like a little area where you could go and see all of the local fish and just like learn about them and see the otters and how they're being playful and fun. So it was really fun. So that one's definitely something you should check out if you haven't.
Okay, I have another one on my list, even though this list on the internet included Salt Lake Express, like the bus. And I was like, what? Why? I do not need to experience that because I've experienced it multiple times, not on my list. The ropes course. Even if you're scared of heights like I am, you got to try it once, and then you can pee your pants afterwards. But
Or during,
like I probably did. I had a near-death experience.
No,
It was
you
a
didn't.
windy day. I did. It was a windy day, and I was up like 2 or 3 levels, and I got a gust of wind, and I slipped, and I was hanging on by just my hands. Like, of
he
course,
was
I had
strapped in. It is very safe. And so,
Stop undramatizing my story. But my feet didn't have any place to rest, and so I was strapped in and then had my hands, and I was, losing grip fast. That was a bad day. But anyways, go try it out.
Yeah. You gotta have those experiences that remind you of just how much you value your life.
Yes.
I think that's the moral of like the Saw movies.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Michael, is there something that you've done here that you would hope everybody else would be able to do?
I would say for students, really, getting lost on campus. There's a lot of really cool buildings, a lot of really cool just niche experiences. There's an observatory on campus that not a lot of people know about that does astronomy showings and actual telescope viewings very regularly. There's a lot of fun little corners in the school greenhouses where you can also go to take botany classes, start your own little garden. But there's also a lot of really good just spots in those greenhouses just to sit, study, take some fresh air, especially during the winter. You go into a nice hot humid greenhouse and just get away from it all for a few minutes.
And they also sell plants for fairly cheap there too,
very
if you
cheap,
want to
yeah.
get little cactuses or anything like that for your room or your apartment. Those are great
Absolutely.
places to go for sure. Another one I would mention from campus is the art gallery. It changes quite a bit,
yeah.
and it is gorgeous, and there are so many wonderful artists that have gallery availability, and so they have all of their right now. Why can't I think of his name? Walter Rain, and he's one of the most popular painters of the church, or at least a lot of them are very popular. And if you haven't seen it, it's wonderful, but it's definitely something you should put on your Rexburg bucket list. Get into that Spory Art Gallery because there's always some beautiful work in there for sure.
Certainly.
One thing, I don't think anyone's mentioned it, but while you're in Rexburg, you have to get solicited to go into summer sales.
Good point, Colton.
Which ones?
Everyone's gonna get it.
Last night I was in the Romney, I think, and this guy was just on a Zoom call, and he was like, "Yeah, Brad, that is an awesome sales pitch. I think I can get 2 or 3 guys to sign on to that." And I'm just like, "Oh no, it's happening."
And your impression is perfect, where it's like, "Yeah, man, that's
Yeah,
so
dude."
cool."
So cool.
So much money doing it. And if you have done summer sales, the aspect of summer sales, totally fine. Just don't be
Summer sales bro.
Don't
summer
make it your
sales bro.
personality.
Yeah, don't let it affect your personality. There you go, Michael.
Just be you. You.
Oh, and one more thing. Yeah, Michael was talking about stuff that's on campus that's really cool. Something I didn't realize until this semester how big it was is the Thomas E. Ricks Gardens. Those are
so
huge.
beautiful.
I've only ever seen them from the outside, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they've got like a gazebo thing in there. I guess that's the only. No,
There's
like
so much.
multiple water features. You'll go through. There's like a place that's like designed to look like a ruin, and it's got like these busts of like Roman statue looking things, and people are out there studying all the time. And
It's
I'm like,
beautiful.
Or getting engaged.
Or getting
The
engaged.
gazebo, popular place.
But also, like the botany students that we mentioned earlier, Michael mentioned earlier, they actually put on a show. I think it's every semester in the Ricks Gardens, and it's really cool because you get to see everybody's beautiful flower arrangements. And oh my gosh, I went in the summer semester. It was gorgeous, so beautiful. And so check that out. It's usually at the end of the semester. It's their final projects, and so they've been working really hard on them. So really, really cool. So many talented students around here too. Like there's so much to do on campus. You can go see all the plays and the musicals. Amazingly talented students. I don't even know how they're not professionals yet. They're amazing. Obviously, they're on their way, right? But I'm just saying, there's some really amazing actors here. So that's definitely one you should check out. The musicians, there's so many beautiful musicians, so many different groups of musicians. They're all very impressive. So those are definitely some to check out as well.
I would definitely go off of what you're saying and say that these different departments here on campus have different end of the semester or mid-semester things for students to display their projects. I know that for communications, we have the senior showcase. You don't have to be a senior to go. You do have to be a senior to present. But you can go and check out things that may relate to your major, that may relate to something you want to do down the road. And I'm guessing there's a lot of other things for different departments as well, just like you were saying.
Oh, yeah. And the communication department senior showcase, even if you're not at all a communication major, there's some of these projects are really cool. I've seen people do music videos who have worked with music students and like created a whole music video for this original piece, and there's just amazing things. They put 40 hours into those projects at least. Many of them I've seen put 100 hours into their project easily. Sometimes it's just fun to go check it out just because, even if it's not something you're interested in, like educationally wise, but there's a lot of cool things to check out during that showcase for sure.
Yeah. It's not as big as the senior showcase, but there is something like right at the end of every semester called the Visual Society. And they have a lot of artwork and stuff on display, and they give prizes to some of the people who participate.
They create stickers too, right?
They do. You can get a lot of stickers there. There's a ton of stuff to see there. I've seen some really cool art and some pretty basic Instagram crap, but there's cool stuff too.
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree. And this semester, what should be on your bucket list is to come see us live at the MC. That will be near the end of the semester. We will have more details in the next episode, but be aware that we're going to have some fun. We're going to enjoy the audience as well, and get you guys involved, and it'll be a blast. So make sure to join us for that. Last mentions, everybody. Last mentions of Rexburg bucket list. What things do we want to do before we leave?
Just going back off on what you were saying about musicals and stuff, I would go to the Play Mill over the summer.
Yeah.
Super good. They do different plays each summer,
in
but it's in West Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a drive, but it was worth it for us. So, and they do Dole Whip and Fudge, 10 out of 10.
Brian?
I would agree with that. I think that it's probably a theme now this semester on our podcast, but try out all the different pizza places. The
There's a lot of
variety in Rexburg, But I highly recommend Flat Rock or Righteous Slice, and of course Little Caesars. Come on.
Michael, what about you?
I'd say kind of put yourself out there on a more academic level, especially. A lot of students get very attached to their majors, and they don't really explore everything that BYU-I and really the world has to offer. Take a class you never thought you would have. Join a club you never could have seen yourself joining. There's a lot of stuff out there, and if you're you're willing to put yourself out of your comfort zone, you will be rewarded.
That's a
I'd
good one.
absolutely agree with that for sure. There's so many opportunities here on campus. Just keep looking because there's going to be more. And you don't even have to look that hard. There's so many opportunities. Colton?
This is one that I'm still working on. Try and get engaged. There's a disproportionate amount of single people here. Not as disproportionate as you would think, but, there's a few.
So that's on your Rexburg bucket list.
That is.
Okay, so we only have like one semester, right?
Yeah,
so
one more semester.
all right, ladies.
I'm at the point, in the graph where it takes a downward curve. That's my standards.
Oh no! I think my final mention would have to be Video Production Society, or like just the societies. Like Michael was saying, there are a lot of really cool societies. There's a Dungeons and Dragons Society, Visual Society, Video Production Society. Those are the ones just on the top of my head, but lots of really cool societies to do extra things, and a lot of really cool extra things that you can put on your resume. Maybe not D&D, but I mean you could word it specially. You might be able to get there, but like Video Production Society, you can make really cool videos, and those are experiences that you can put on your resume. So look around. There are a lot of really awesome societies for anybody. So definitely try and take advantage of that before you leave the school. You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts were me, Savannah Bewley.
I'm Colton Scholl.
Bryan Bridge.
And we have two special guests today.
Michael Bagely.
Allie Bridge.
The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university, and are solely the opinions of the hosts. This episode was edited by me, Savannah Bewley. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads, and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media, or visit our website, byui.edu/radio, and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the BYU-Idaho Radio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you get podcasts. And also, leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.